called What Are You Wearing? And it's been through a few different phases, actually. It started off as a mask that I made out of the recycled paper, and I affixed pieces of the masks from the group to the mask that I made out of recycled paper. And it didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. The writing bled, you couldn't really read it. It was kind of creepy looking. It was like all grotesque and creepy looking. So I just kind of slept on it for a couple of days, and I still had all these scraps from the masks left over, and I wanted to demonstrate how messy the process of RAPP is. So especially that emotional process that you go through. So this to me is kind of the epitome of that messiness. And it's kind of what my house looks like too. So there's another layer. Yeah, so, and I just happened to find all of these microaggressions on this beautiful, colorful paper, and Matthew actually came and helped me stuff the drawers. And it was originally in that corner, and then it kind of moved over here, and we found all the microaggressions, and we just laid them out on the floor, and so it kind of like pulls you over and into the piece. So there it is. This piece is from our meeting about the spring break challenge, I believe. And to me, this is when it kind of got real. And a lot of that was because people weren't talking to each other, because they got to write it down and stick it up on the wall, which is awesome. So I named it Get Real. And this piece has been through a few different phases as well. I started out and I had it all, it was very linear. So the big word was going this way, and then all the post-it notes were lined up like this. It kind of looked like piano keys or like a book or something. And I was trying to puzzle in all of the pieces, and it's very like orderly, neat, symmetrical way. And I got it laid out. Dustin and I, we were looking at it. We were both just like, I hate it. I totally hate it. It doesn't represent the messiness again. So, or the chaos, or any of that. And so I cut everything apart that I had taken so long to neatly cut out and line up, and which is kind of symbolic in and of itself. This whole other piece of just going back and revising and kind of taking things apart and dismantling and all of that. And then we put it back together in a matter of minutes, probably 20 minutes. We got everything cut up, and then we just started layering and layering and layering. And we started with the scraps. So we started with the cut out pieces all the way in the background. And then started putting the big words in, and then the post-it notes. And yeah, this is what happened, and I'm pretty happy with it. And the frame we found in our attic. Pretty straightforward. It's the gender boxes activity, and it's called In or Out. And this was one of the first ones that I completed. The frames took the most time because they're all mosaiced. So yeah, but I found these frames in a dumpster, and it was like, score! And I picked them out. Yeah, and so this has a couple different groups pulled from it around the box, and then just one group. I picked out the ones that were the most visually appealing and had the most content in them. So yeah, but it's a conglomeration of all four groups and what they contributed. This one's Confess. This is the RAPP Confessional box. And I tried to arrange it from beginning to end. So it's kind of what the group wouldn't say to each other. and it moves this way, and then down and over. So it's kind of, it goes like this. So this is the first one. They start off, they're excited, they're pleased, they're feeling reflective, they're glad, and then it starts to get a little more real.
I see like the sad and the question mark.
Frustrated. That's when we started talking about gender, and then we get into triggers, and this to me is really about the group, the conflict avoidance in the group, because it says without agreement, about disagreement, it feels like there can't be growth. I wish that was in the agreement, which is really an interesting, like, redundant statement, but kind of just dancing around that conflict. Yeah, and then it moves down into the sexuality, and watchful of my surroundings, sad,
bring the heat.
Bring the heat, yeah, and then over, pushed away. It was, again, it was really frustrating to the group to discuss disagreement without vilifying people who do the triggering. So again, that conflict avoidance, and then this at the end. And what I did was, I had taken everything and collaged it onto cardboard, and I was going to lay the cardboard in, but I really wanted it to have this translucent feel, so I got tracing paper and I traced all of the handwriting. And I think my favorite panel on this is this one right here. And it says, the meeting today was thought-provoking since gender is a social construct but isn't seen as discriminating, as race has been since gender has just emerged. And I thought that was a really interesting kind of definite statement to make, and maybe that this person was actually talking a little more about their experience as opposed to some kind of absolute. And then in here it says, I feel frustrated not hearing other males acknowledge negative experiences of women or their personal privilege. And so I thought that the statement that surrounds it was kind of a perfect example of what it was trying to say. And so I wanted to put those two together, especially those two. But there are some really interesting relationships with the statements and the words and what's being said, and how it all connects. And I forgot how much I loved making paper. And then seeing all of the, like, really colorful paper, the scrap paper, that was something that was one of the things that I really learned this year, is that working in an office or in an academic setting or just wherever, there is a lot of paper that gets wasted, like a disturbing amount of paper that gets wasted. So I took it all and made new paper. And you can actually pick out some little words here and there, little fragments of words, and if you know what you're looking at, you can recognize, like, the UC logo and stuff like that. So, yeah. And there might be a hair or two in there.
It's messy, right?
That's right.
It's on.
So this is my identity crisis. I started it for my mini POL because I wanted to get the ball rolling with art. And it just kind of, I don't even know what my process was. I know that I was freaking out, and I was trying to figure out what I'd learned, I guess. And I don't really think I figured it out at that point. I needed to get this out of my system before I could really figure it out. So it's just like stream of consciousness. The writing is. It's just about whatever was on my mind at that very moment, basically, when I made it. This one is my favorite. This one's called Someone Needs to Stand Up. And if you look in the middle, the three things that are really visible are the word someone needs to stand up. This was from butterfly. There are pieces of butterfly wings, and then all the different. There are some of the different cards that we used for that meeting about how to demonstrate allyship, or that kind of thing. So yeah, I think of it like people got their feathers a little bit ruffled, and actually it's kind of, well, maybe I shouldn't say this on camera. It's kind of gross, but my cat killed a bird in our bathroom, and so I just picked up the feathers and put them in the piece. It was perfect. It was great. I didn't have any feathers, and then there they were. This one is from our first retreat, and it was after we watched the videos, Dream World and Killing Us Softly. Is that our first retreat? Second retreat. It's from our second retreat. And so, which are all kind of about the construction of female sexuality, I guess, and the media especially. And so these were just some of the reactions that people had. And my favorite was bologna, because at one point during the movie, some of the women are getting lunch meat thrown at them, and that's why someone wrote bologna. And there were actually like 2 or 3 bolognas that I had to choose from. But I also think that the way that female sexuality is constructed is total bologna. So it was perfect. Did most of the work. You made this on an art tape, is that right? And then I just finished it off. So it was collaborative.
So when I was working on this piece for the show, I was trying to think about how I've taken rap in my personal life and where I want to take it in my career, and how I really want to focus on the way Arabs and Muslims and people from the Middle East are portrayed in Western media and society. And I think in this piece I focused on that, but then I also looked at social justice in the context of the Middle East and the movements that are happening there right now. And I tried to pick images that were powerful and captions that really stuck out to me.
I made these 2010, and they haven't really been displayed. And they kind of fit the theme because I like to do this really hard love and all that good stuff. But ceramics is also a huge part of my identity. I made these at Funky's, which is kind of where I put down roots when I came to Cincinnati. This is a portrait of my house. So to me, this is like. So this show is about identity and place and community, and I'm just starting to feel like I belong in Cincinnati, I guess, and I'm just starting to feel like I belong in the house that I own, and so there's a lot in this, a lot about my ex-husband and that relationship, which kind of how I ended up here. So yeah, it was good to kind of, I made it, I drew the rough sketch and I started painting it and everything, and then I didn't know what I was going to write, and so I just started writing and it all just like came out, which is really very therapeutic in a lot of ways. So yeah, and it looks a lot like the house. I just like drew it from just my mind. I didn't have a picture or anything, but this building has been in my life for the past 11 years now. So it's kind of burned and it's starting to feel like home.